encountered the native people of the Americas, Columbus wrote in his journal, they should be good servants. I, our Lord, being pleased, will take hence at the time of my departure 6 natives for your highnesses. These captives were later paraded through the streets of Barcelona and Seville when Columbus returned to Spain. From his first contact with native people, Columbus had their domination in mind. For example, on October 14th...
Because that's what a devil does. Yep. You know, a devil comes to you to get something out of you and to get you. That's why he's over there, and the U.S. troops are over there in Iraq. That's why they're in Afghanistan. They're not there to help the Afghani people. They're there to take the resources, man, and enslave the people, colonize the people, set up a central bank. Okay?
Yep, that's right. From his very first contact with native people, Columbus had their domination in mind. For example, on October 14, 1492, Columbus wrote in his journal, with 50 men, they can all be subjugated and made to do what is required of them. These were not mere words. After his second voyage, Columbus sent back a consignment of natives to be sold as slaves. Yet, in an April 1493 letter to Luis de Santangel, a patron who helped fund the first voyage, Columbus made clear that the people he encountered had done nothing to deserve ill treatment, according to Columbus. They are artless and generous with what they have, to such a degree as no one would believe but him who had seen it. Of anything they have, if it be asked for, they never say no, but do rather invite the persons to accept it and show as much lovingness as though they would give their hearts. Nonetheless, later in the letter, Columbus went on to say, their highnesses may see that I shall give them as much gold as they need, and slaves as many as they shall order to be shipped. Pope gives Americas to Spain. Following Columbus' discovery, Pope Alexander VI issued a May 4, 1493 papal bull granting official ownership of the New World to Ferdinand and Isabella. To these monarchs, the Pope declared, we of our own nation, or of our own motion, and not at your solicitation, do give, concede, and assign forever to you and your successors all the islands and mainlands discovered and which may hereafter be discovered towards the west and south, whether they be situated towards India or towards...
Now, mind you, they never went and asked the Indian, can we have part of your land? Can we, take things? And they just took it, man. Yep. They just took it. Hey, give me Psalms 55 and 21.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 55 and verse 21. And it reads as such. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter.
Yeah, in the case of Columbus. And because when he encountered them, he conversed with them, all right? And he noticed how they were friendly and they gave anything up. And they traded with them at first. But he said himself, his own quote, that in his mind was domination. To take what they had and to take them. Yep. And this devil hasn't changed.
I read the 20th verse. It says, he hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. The words of his mouth.
He's a covenant breaker. He'll make an agreement with you, then he'll break that agreement. So any of you jakes out there that trust this damn devil, man, you got a problem. Go ahead.
It says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords.
Yeah, because he'll speak smooth to you, but he has a sword behind his back, ready to chop your head off. You got something else?
Ecclesiasticus 12 and 10. Never never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust has not been altogether wiped away.
Yeah, because you got these Israelites out there that say that we can't call this man a devil, or they go as far as to say that this man can make it, that he can, that there's going to be some of these Edomites, which are the enemy, that are going to be side by side with us in the kingdom of heaven. Now, the ones of you that follow clowns like that, you continue to follow clowns like that. Okay? Is there more?
Well, I'll just finish reading it. It says, we of our own motion and not of your solicitation do give, concede and assign for ever to you and your successors all the islands and mainlands discovered, and which may hereafter be discovered, towards the west and south, whether they be situated towards India or towards any other part whatsoever, and give your absolute power in them.
So that's enough, more than enough. But anyway, we're going to go into the scriptures. Whatever scriptures you have, y'all can bring out. I have one here, Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter and the 41st verse. Because this was prophesied that we were going to be taken over, that the Latin tribes, the 10 tribes, you can call them, we're going to be taken over. That we were going to be brought over here against our will and cargo slave ships. Because if you go into the history, you'll understand that the Israelites had fled into the interiors of Africa and pretty much settled in the western side of Africa. And they built, societies and they built castles too. They built strongholds and they built cities. And the Africans in that area understood that they were Israelites. All right, go ahead.
Deuteronomy 28 and 41. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity.
Yeah, that's plain and simple. They shall go into captivity. Now go from there to the book of Jeremiah, the 15th chapter and the 2nd verse. Just that one verse.
Jeremiah 15 and 2. And it shall come to pass, if they say unto thee, whither shall we go forth? Then thou shalt tell them, thus saith the Lord, such as are for death, to death, and such as are for the sword, to the sword, and such as for the famine, to the famine, and such as for the captivity, to the captivity.
And that's plain, Speak for a minute.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing, when you read the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, there's a whole lot of curses that's in there that fell upon the so-called native tribes of this land, whether they be so-called North American Indians or the so-called Latinos, so to speak. They all suffered, all them curses you see in there, they all suffered them too, including the 68th verse, which is going into slavery by way of cargo slave ships. But the bulk of that curse fell upon Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, because that's how it was prophesied they would come over to this side of the world. But those other Israelites that were here, they suffered the same fate. That's why the enemy got over us, which was the Spaniards, them Edomites. That's why they tortured our people. That's why they killed our people. And the same stuff that was going on in the Inquisition